Hope you've had a great half term. I'm excited to share a topic lesson with you this afternoon, which you will need some printouts from the internet from our school website for. If you haven't got a printer available, don't worry, you can write notes in your book. You can do without the maps. I hope you enjoy the lesson. Our learning objective, which you could put in your book now with your date, is to investigate features of the River Thames on maps and satellite photos. And I'm excited to share this lesson with you because it is, of course, based on where we live, and we're going to explore a lot more and hopefully learn a thing or two that we didn't already know about the wonderful River Thames. Okay, so you might recognise the landmark in the forefront of this photo, which is, of course, Tower Bridge, a very famous landmark there. And the River Thames is one of the UK's most famous rivers. So, but where do you think the River Thames starts? Have you thought about where it comes from? Well, if you look at this map on the course of the River Thames, you can see the source and the mouth of the river. And the source is in a place called Kemble. So Kemble is a village in Gloucestershire in the Cotswold Hills. And that's where the River Thames begins its journey. And the source of the river is a spring, and it's called Thames Head. And you can see in this photograph, this stone marks Thames Head. The river is no more than a marshy sort of puddle at this stage, so very different from the River Thames that we know down in our part of the river. Okay, so now we'll look at a map of the area, and can you find that Thames Head on this map? And do you notice any other river features on the map? Have a close look at that. So there's the Thames Head Spring, which is where we saw that photograph. And you might have also noticed that there are some other tributary streams which are joining the River Thames. So a tributary is a river or a stream joining another river. Okay, and there is also the point where they meet is called the confluence of two streams. Okay, so try and remember those words because you will be using them in your books in a moment. Okay, why do you think it's not possible to see the River Thames on this satellite photo? This is exactly that area that we saw on the map, but the source of the River Thames, there's no clear river there. Why do you think you can't see it? Yeah, it's not visible from the satellite because, as we saw, it was just a wet bit of marshland just where the spring comes up from the ground. So as of yet, it's not wide enough to be shown on the map. Okay, so your first activity under your date and LO is to stick in your first map and satellite photograph, and then try and label the images using those words that we've just talked about. And if you can, write a paragraph describing the features you can see. Okay, so you could pause the video and see what you can label on that map and satellite image. Okay, so you might have put in there the Thames Head Spring, which of course features on both the map and the satellite image. And if you remember tributary stream, well done, and labelled that on the map. And your paragraph might read something like this. On the map and satellite photo, you can see Thames Head Spring, the source of the River Thames. Thames Head is in the Cotswold Hills near Kemble in Gloucestershire. This is the upper course of the River Thames. Additionally, on the map, you can see two tributary streams which feed into the Thames. So the information which I've added there is that this is the upper course of the River Thames, and we're going to go on to look at the middle and the lower course of the Thames as well. Okay, so just west of London, close to where we are now, is Slough, and the River Thames flows past a very famous royal landmark. Can you guess where that is? What's the very famous royal landmark? There's a photograph of it. It is indeed Windsor Castle, the royal residence, and the Queen uses it as a weekend home and also hosts state banquets there. And did you know that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry got married there in May 2018? You might have seen that on the television. And you can see how close it is to the banks of the River Thames in that photo. Okay, so now we're going to look at a map of that same area. Can you find Windsor Castle on the map? Just down in the southwest corner. And then what features of the river can you identify on this map? Okay, what can you see there? You might notice that there are two bridges where traffic and pedestrian traffic can cross the water. There's also a lock, which we are familiar with because of our lock at Teddington. And that point where the River Thames and the Jubilee River meet each other is called the confluence. Okay, and there's also a meander, which is the bend in the river. Where a river bends round, it's called a meander. Lovely word, meander, isn't it? And that's a satellite image of exactly the same area. So you can see what it would look like if you were flying in a helicopter, the bird's eye view. And locks, did you know locks are a way to raise and lower boats between different levels of water on a canal or river? Well, I bet you did, because we are very familiar with that where we live. Teddington Lock. Okay. So now if you can stick in the second map and satellite photo in your book and label the images, and try and write a paragraph, a few sentences describing the river features that you can see. So try and include those words and the bridges, the meander, the confluence, and anything else that you can remember. You can pause the video to do that. Okay, so next, the River Thames flows through the heart of London, the capital city of the United Kingdom. We've taken a journey from Kemble through Oxford, Reading, past Slough, and we're going into the heart of London. And as the Thames winds through London, it becomes, as you can see, much wider and slower flowing as well. It passes some really important human landmarks. So we've got a mixture of physical geography, the river and the features of the river, and also human geography, which are the landmarks that we can see. Do you recognise any buildings in this photo? You might see right in the foreground here is Westminster Bridge, and the Houses of Parliament. Behind that we've got Westminster Cathedral, and here's a satellite image of Greater London. So thinking about why the River Thames is bigger in East London than it is in West London. And that's because, of course, as it goes from its source to its mouth, the river gets wider and wider, and the mouth is towards East London. Okay, so down here near me, there are features. Do you know what these are? Okay, you might be thinking it's a lake or a reservoir for storing water. Okay, and taking a look at this area in a lot more detail, you might recognise this picture. It's a satellite image which is very familiar from a popular BBC television programme. If your parents are EastEnders fans, you might have seen this before. And this is the Docklands area in East London. It's also known as the Isle of Dogs. So can you spot any famous landmarks here? Right in the centre there, you might be able to see the O2 Stadium, the O2 Arena, where lots of concerts have taken place. I know some of you have been there. And Canary Wharf, which is one of London's business districts where some of your mums or dads might go up to work. Can you see any river features on the map? You can clearly see here the bend in the river. Can you remember what that was called, where the river bends round? It's the meanders. Well done if you remembered that. And we've also got a tributary river here, which is the River Lee. And you can go and see this exact point of the River Lee. Leamouth, the mouth of the River Lee coming out into the River Thames. So the River Lee is its tributary. We are so lucky to live in such a fantastic place when we can go and see all these different parts of the River Thames. And we might not have noticed before the Blackwall Tunnel, where cars can go underneath the river and also the Greenwich Foot Tunnel, where you can walk under the river. So we've got bridges, but also tunnels connecting the north banks and the south banks of the River Thames. Okay, so now you've got your third map and satellite image in your book. If you can label the images as you've done previously and have a go at writing a little bit about what you can see there. So we've got the tributary, River Lee, we've got the meanders, we've got the human landmarks, and we've got tunnels as well as bridges. Okay, and then finally the River Thames flows out into the North Sea at its mouth near Southend-on-Sea in the county of Essex. And the satellite image of the Thames estuary here shows that mouth of the Thames where it's flowing out into the North Sea. But why is the water brown in some places? What do you think that brown area is? Yeah, if you thought of the word silt or sediment, that's where the silt and sediment sits on the banks of the river, and the water is shallower there. So it changes the appearance of the colour of the water. Shallow water with silt and sediment. Okay, so where is the mouth of the River Thames? Well, here it is, flowing out from Southend-on-Sea past the Isle of Sheppey. And you've got your fourth picture there to stick in the map and satellite photo. Have a go at labelling the mouth of the River Thames and describing any features. You might want to talk about how wide the river is right there as it comes out into the sea, the direction of how the water is flowing out into the sea, and you might want to label the silt and the sediment which have gathered at the mouth of the River Thames. Okay, your activity now, your main activity is to complete this close exercise. You can see that for each of the 4 paragraphs, there are words in blue, and you need to find out where they go in that paragraph. Okay, so if you've got these to stick into your book, that would be great. If you haven't managed to print them, you can just write the words as a list, or even better, you can write the paragraphs and underline the key words where you think they go, and we'll run through the answers. So if you want to pause the video now, then you can do the activity before the answers come up. Okay. So well done. Hard work today, Year 5. Keep at it. On the map and satellite photo, you can see Thames Head Spring. Okay, you might want to highlight these or give them a little tick if you got them right. So that's the source of the River Thames. Thames Head is in the Cotswold Hills near the village of Kemble in Gloucestershire. This is the upper course of the River Thames. Also on the map you can see 2 tributary streams which feed into the Thames. And then the second paragraph, the River Thames flows past Windsor Castle in the middle course of its journey. River features at Windsor include a large meander or bend in the river, 2 bridges and a lock. A lock is a way to raise or lower the boats between different water levels on a canal or river. On the map, you can also see the confluence of the River Thames and the Jubilee River. The map here, number 3, shows the Isle of Dogs area in East London, which is in the lower course of the River Thames. The Isle of Dogs is situated inside a large meander of the river. You can also see the confluence of the Lee River and the River Thames on a map, an area called Leamouth. The Lee River is a tributary of the Thames. Finally, the River Thames flows out into the North Sea as its mouth nears Southend-on-Sea. In the satellite image, you can see the brown sediment and silt washed out to sea by the River Thames. So it's not only humans who use and depend. Oh, I've got somebody here. Charlie, hold on. It's not only humans who use and depend on the Thames. The river is home to many animals too, including, and you may have seen some of these. Charlie, would you like to watch this with us? I'll click here to find out more. I'm being offered a massage by Charlie. Mummy! Here we go. Let me put this onto here. Okay, so I hope that next time you go to Teddington Lock, you're keeping an eye out for some furry friends there. That would be an amazing spot, wouldn't it? And I've just noticed that behind me on my wall is actually a watercolour painting that my mum did of the River Thames. So that's a nice happy coincidence, and I really hope that you have all enjoyed finding out about the upper, the middle and the lower courses of the River Thames as much as I have enjoyed sharing it with you, and that you remember some of those keywords from our lesson today. So we've talked about meanders, tributary streams, confluence of two rivers joining. We've looked at the three different parts, the three different courses of the River Thames, and we've seen some locks and bridges and tunnels, human and physical features. And well done if you've got to this point in the lesson. Give yourselves a top banana. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Take care. See you soon. Bye.